A change in the view of human society. An introduction to the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was a period of about 140 years in which thinkers used reason and the scientific method to help them make sense of the role of government and religion in their lives, as well as how people interacted with each other. These thinkers believed that the ability of people to reason could lead them to three great goals: knowledge, freedom, and happiness. Through the Middle Ages, the leaders of European countries were absolute monarchs who held all the power and had very little respect for the average person. Religious institutions, primarily the Catholic Church, told peasants that their purpose in life was to do good deeds in order to get into heaven. The Church dominated just about every aspect of the lives of the people. The average person had no say in laws or taxes that impacted them on a daily basis and had very little access to education. Women were seen as being inferior to men, and children were seen only as small adults with no rights. The ideas of the Renaissance and the Reformation began to challenge those long-held beliefs. The Renaissance brought with it a revival of the interest in the books, works, and thinking of ancient Greece and Rome, along with a growing focus on the individual. The Reformation, led by Martin Luther and his 95 Theses, questioned the authority and supremacy of the Catholic Church. Luther's questions led to others questioning the teachings of the Catholic Church in non-religious matters, specifically science. The Polish mathematician Nicholas Copernicus changed the view of the universe from a geocentric version, with suns, stars, and all the planets revolving around the Earth, to a heliocentric version, with everything revolving around the sun. Galileo, Isaac Newton, and others made their own contributions to what became known as the scientific revolution. In many ways, what we now call the Enlightenment grew out of that scientific revolution. If reason, the power of the mind to think, understand, and form judgments based on a process of logic, could be used to discover laws of the physical world, such as Newton's three laws of motion, many people began to believe that the reasoning process could be used to understand natural laws, those laws that governed human nature. Men of all social classes were part of the Enlightenment, which began in England sometime in the middle of the 17th century, around 1650, eventually spreading to France, and from there around the world. In France, the thinkers were called philosophes, and often met at the homes of wealthy women in Paris in what were called salons. At these salons, the philosophes and their supporters used the scientific method in their arguments over whose view of society and government was the best for human beings, some arguing for the traditional absolute monarch, while most argued that the individual and society in general should determine what things the government was allowed to do and what laws should be passed. While women ran the salons, and in many ways the Enlightenment, they were still not considered the equal of men. Mary Wollstonecraft did argue for women's rights and equality, but her ideas did not carry much weight. The ideas of the philosophes encouraged changes in government, society, and economic structures, becoming in many ways the inspiration for the American Revolution and the Constitution of the United States.